Shemai friendly hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is CaitlinAnwyn for anyone who's new here, and let's get back into building in Planet Zoo. And today I'm doing an Amur Leopard Habitat, and for this habitat I was inspired by the game Stray. It's a relatively new game that I've been really enjoying watching other people play. The game is just absolutely beautiful. I was trying to think of some sort of habitat for the leopard, and I was thinking about how on the game Stray, the cat character, because you play as a cat, climbs all over buildings and things, and I thought, oh, this would be a really fun and interesting sort of thing to do for the leopard when I create a sort of building that it can climb on the outside of. And I really love the post-apocalyptic rundown aesthetic of the game too, and I've already sort of done an abandoned building for this zoo, so I thought I would build the leopard's habitat near the platypus habitat, so it could be like a kind of abandoned back area of the zoo. And this was my first idea, what I'm doing now, but I actually decided not to finish this idea and I tried something completely different. But because I don't often do that, I thought it'd be nice to show my thought process at the same time. We've got very curvy pathways with the curvy flowing of the zoo, so having that like L-shaped straight path felt very clunky and didn't feel like it flowed nicely in with the zoo. So I tried something else, and I'm going to keep the red brick style that I wanted to go for anyway, but I'm going to hide the pathways in the building rather than have the pathways start the structure of the building. I'm going to try and hide it all in the building, so whatever straight pathways we have, you can't really see them. And to make sure that they actually look out at the animals climbing, I'm going to create balcony style viewing areas with the path where the guests can walk kind of slightly outside the building and see the animals climbing. The guests don't actually look anywhere but like straight ahead. They won't look up or down to look at the animals, they will only look straight ahead. So maybe that's why we've always had the problem with the guests complaining about the view. Maybe they can't see the animal when we can see it because they're not looking up in a tree or up in a building, anything like that. So it's kind of their fault really, isn't it? And I wanted to do a kind of foundation layer with the concrete just to give it a bit of variation rather than it being all brick. I've got like the roof part being concrete, and I've made a sort of foundation then as well, because this is going to be my main focus in the habitat. I wanted this to be really nicely detailed, so I've got some edging for the walls as well to connect the roof and the foundation part to the brick. I've got those concrete brick corner pieces to keep everything tied together, because it kind of look like the best way to a fab lolly. If you're not British, you might not know, but it's like an ice cream that's three layers. You've got like sprinkles with like a white creamy ice cream type of thing, and you've got like a fruity ice lolly pink layer as well. So the stripes always make me think of fab lollies, so to tie in the stripes together I've got the stone edging on the corners. And to make this feel a bit more industrial, I wanted to create roof decorations that look like air conditioning fans, like those decorations you get on top of flat roof industrial buildings. And these were also in Stray, and the cat in Stray did climb on top of those. I'm not going to spoil the game, I'm not going to do any spoilers, it's just a sort of general thing that you'd see in the trailer, like you'll see the cat climbing about. And this is really fun. Like, I don't use these more industrial realistic objects often, and it just helps decorate the roof a little bit. because it's just a flat roof. It's not that interesting to look at, so I wanted to give a couple of decorations for the top of the roof as well. And I am going to give access to the roof for the leopards as well. And to get more of a metallic look to the roof structures, I used this, I think it's a New World sign. They do have like a backlight to them. They're illuminated in the back. And it was only when I started looking at nighttime that I saw that, and I had to switch it off. But if you want to switch that backlight off of the signs, or you want to have a light but you don't want the light to be on, you can always recolor that light black. And if you do a really dark color, it will no longer illuminate, because the lighter the color, the brighter the light, and the darker the color, the dimmer the light. So there's not like a dimmer switch for the lights in Planet Zoo. But if you want them to be less bright, you can always recolor it like a grey or a browny color if you want more of a yellow light rather than a white light. But the darker the color, the dimmer the light is going to be. And recoloring lights darker can make it kind of look like there's a bulb missing if you've got like a light up sign. Or you can make things like look a little bit more spooky by making the lights dimmer. But that can go in with making things look older and more damaged, like what I'm doing here by adding the damaged decals all over the walls. And I thought I would put scratches on the bottom of these walls where the leopard will go in and out of the shelter, because in game you can have your cat character scratch at things. Just one of the features to do cat things, I guess, in game. So I put some scratches there, like it looked like the leopard was scritching at the walls. Without any spoilers, your cat character in Stray is one of the lost cats, and the Amur Leopard is actually one of the world's rarest cats. As of last year, there were only 110 Amur Leopards estimated to live in the wild. But I thought it was like a nice connection, whereas the Stray cat was rare, these cats are rare as well, and they're absolutely beautiful. It's such a shame. And this object, I don't even know what it is. It's like a wall decoration. I don't know. Probably just scroll past it, ignoring it. But it's a base game object. From a distance, it looks like a garage shutter door. I don't know how to say it. Like one of those ones that would be pulled over when a shop is shut. Yeah, I just thought this object was a nice quick way of showing that. But I thought it looked a little odd all on its own, just this building plonked on some dirt. So I created a little floor around the building as well. Did more like tiled pattern flooring for the inside of the building, and then a plain grey tarmac type flooring for the outside. And I quite like how the terrain is kind of clipping through the flooring as well, like the flooring had broken and now the dirt is sort of taking over. And a lot of things in Stray, the whole game is at night in the dark because it's sort of underground, so there's a lot of neon lights and a lot of lights around the buildings in the game, and there's a lot of Japanese, Asian inspiration for the game as well. So I wanted to use the East Asia style lanterns because there are a couple of those in some of the places in the game, and these match really nicely in with the ones that are in the slums section. I think these are the slums section ones. I've watched loads of different playthroughs. Probably one of my favourite playthroughs was Simply Nailogical's playthrough, Christine. That had me like cry laughing and actually crying. And just using all of the different neon signs from the Europe pack again. This is just a base game and Europe pack build. Europe pack is my favourite, even though this is a Wetlands and Conservation Zoo. I've ended up using Europe pack more than pretty much any of the other DLCs. And I put the Lynx light on the wall as well because it is a cat, and it was quite funny because a couple of times I thought I was doing a Eurasian lynx habitat, and I was like, no, it's a leopard, it's not a lynx. It's a leopard, but it's a cat sign, so it's a kind of little bit of a hint to the fact that this is for a leopard as well. Oh, and all the neon lights just gives off such a cozy vibe. Another hint to Stray is the security cameras. They kind of help you at the start of the game to make your way around the map. To start with, a sort of like a tutorial thing, the security cameras. And the security cameras in game are usable as well, they work. So you can select the security camera and see a view from the security camera, which I might add at the end in the Pretties. To link with the shops idea, I've used the stand-in signs that match the neon lights. So for the burger, it's chief beef, that type of thing. So all of the standing signs match the neon lights, and to give it more of an apocalyptic, abandoned vibe, none of the standing signs are actually standing. I've tipped them over, I've knocked them over, I've got them leaning against walls like they've been left. It makes me want to make an entire zoo of just like an abandoned zoo, that it works as a zoo. Obviously, like all of the animals are still there and being taken care of, but it looks like it's been left. This was really fun to link it in with another game, because there were so many little things that I added in, like Easter eggs from Stray into this building. To find your way around the map, you have to follow the yellow lights. So for the lanterns inside the building to illuminate where the guests would be walking, I lit them all up in different shades of yellow, because that would indicate that the guests need to go towards that area to see the leopards. And you're probably wondering what I'm going to do for the rest of the habitat, and I will get to that, but my main focus is like the building. But I'm going to do the rest like a forest. Like this building used to be kind of on the edge of a forest, but now the forest is overgrown more, so it's more buried in this forest. And now on to climbing structures, and I was thinking this could be more like scaffolding vibes. Like maybe this building's been abandoned, but now someone wants to try and fix it up a bit. So because this is on the edge of a forest, they've created platforms, scaffolding structure using the wood that maybe they cut down to prune. Creating sentences is not it for me today. Like they've cut down trees to allow access to the building again, because obviously it was overgrown and abandoned. So they've reused that wood that they've had to cut down to create a scaffolding structure to start repairing the building. But the leopard's using it instead, and I want the leopards to be able to climb up on the roof as well, just because it was a hint towards Stray. But I don't think they can stand on top of the air conditioning, fan, roof decorations like the cat can on Stray. And to go with the factory industrial style building, I wanted to create like a rusty chain link fence. Like this building was once closed off with these rusty chain link fence, but the fence is now like started to rust and break down, so the cats can get into the building now, and it's been opened up because it's going to be fixed. I wanted some of the fence to have kind of like holes in it, and I tried to make it look a little bit more jagged by rotating the panels, but because the chain link has got a specific pattern to it, rotating that pattern doesn't look right. But rotating some of the fence pieces outwards and like down like they'd been falling made it look a little bit more run down and broken. I've got some pieces just completely laying on the floor, some pieces just angled outwards, just like it's just been falling down a little bit. Time for the forest, so I'm using all of the trees that the leopards like, but I wanted a nice variation of trees like this had been overgrown. So it's very filled with trees, some filled with foliage and stuff. This is supposed to look like an abandoned building left for a while where nature has taken over. So lots of trees, but to link in with the chopping some trees down vibe for the scaffolding climbing structure, I've got a couple of the dead trees, whatever they are, like just tree trunks around as well. And I just thought adding the skip on the outside of the building as well, like the reconstruction has started, so they needed to get rid of some waste, and to fill the skip I just hired the terrain up to make it look like a mound of dirt around inside the skip, and just filling in some of the forest as well with some bushes and some foliage around the forest just to make it feel a little bit more full and overgrown. And I've been listening to Shiver, which is like a werewolf stories. They are just behind my head. That's Shiver, Linger and Forever right on the end of that shelf, and I've been listening to the audiobook, so making a forest and listening to the story of werewolves in a forest was very fun for me as well, and I love those stories. You don't need a lot of trees to create a forest for a habitat. You just need to make it feel full without adding lots of objects. So adding bushes in the gaps, you know, where the trunks are before the leaves start in a tree. Adding some bushes around fills in those gaps and makes it look fuller than it actually is. So there's still space around the habitat for the animals to walk around. And just adding some overgrowth on the ground as well, like the pavement is cracked and plants have grown through the cracks. Some nettles, because they look like weeds to me, and I also use some ivy to look like small plants crawling along the pavement. And to link in with the abandoned warehouse building for the platypus, I've used the same education board that I made for those, which looks like a warning tape, like a crime scene tape across the boards with like the stop and no entry signs on there to make it look like it's a dangerous building, like this is a dilapidated building. Oh, did I pronounce that right? No idea. But yeah, just to link the two together, use the same education boards, because I don't really mind using different styles for education boards to link with the habitats, but use the same donation bins and regular bins to keep everything consistent. But yeah, that is pretty much it. This was a really fun one to do. I love making damaged buildings like this, and I love linking things in with other games. I've done it a few other times as well. I made the Black Lantern from Life is Strange, True Colours, last year, so this was another one. Have you watched a playthrough of Stray, or have you played Stray yourselves? Let me know in the comments. I think that'll be really interesting. I loved the game. But I'm gonna leave it off there with the Pretties, with the leopard walking around the forest and obviously climbing around the abandoned building. As always, leave me suggestions in the comments for any animals you would like me to build a habitat for in this zoo, and any ideas for any habitat styles you would like me to try out. Can be a conservation theme to link with the conservation park, or anything just fun and wacky. Like this one was just something I wanted to try and I really enjoyed it. The leopard was probably my favourite animal from the conservation park because it was a cat, and I just love the cats, and I think the Amur leopard is just a beautiful animal, and it's such a shame that they are one of the rarest. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, and if you haven't already and you would like to, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I upload speed builds on Wednesdays and short tutorials on Saturdays. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.